Have you noticed that if you set your mind on buying something, you start seeing it everywhere? For example, you decide to buy a particular car of blue color. In the next few days, you see that blue color wherever you go. It feels like suddenly, everyone is driving a car in that color. Hi, I am Girish Kishnani, and you are watching 5-Minute Learnings. Welcome to the 9th video in the series on interesting psychology facts and effects. Today we shall explore the Baader Meinhof Phenomenon. The Baader Meinhof Phenomenon is a type of cognitive bias that gives you a false impression that something happens more frequently than it actually does. This often occurs when we learn something new. Suddenly, this new thing seems to appear more frequently, when in reality it's only our awareness of it that has increased. The Baader Meinhof Phenomenon is also known as the frequency illusion or recency illusion. While it's mostly harmless, it can affect our ability to recall events correctly, or cause us to see patterns that aren't actually there. There are two mechanisms involved in the Baader Meinhof phenomenon: selective attention and confirmation bias. Selective attention: our attention is a limited resource. In our daily lives, we encounter a large quantity of information, but we don't pay the same amount of attention to every input from our environment. If we did, our brains would be constantly overwhelmed. In order to be more efficient, our brains allow us to do two things simultaneously: select the most useful information depending on the context or the task at hand, disregard all the information that we don't need. Thanks to selective attention, we can focus on what matters, filtering out less important details. When we learn a new word or set our mind on buying a particular blue car, this information is interesting to us, and hence stays in front and center in our brain for a period of time. This leads us to notice that thing more than earlier. Confirmation bias. Confirmation bias enhances this phenomenon further, by making us look for things in our environment that support our preconceived ideas. For example, if we are seeking encouragement to buy a particular blue car, we seek environmental proof that suddenly everyone is driving a blue car. At the same time, confirmation bias leads us to disregard any information that doesn't align with those preconceived ideas. Because the Baader Meinhof phenomenon makes us place emphasis on certain aspects of the world around us while ignoring others, it can influence our judgment. This can be either positive or negative. The Baader Meinhof phenomenon and learning. Suppose you are a doctor in training. You hear about a rare disease that causes gastrointestinal bleeding but no pain, so it is hard to detect. You start reading every journal article you can find on the topic. In this way, you gain an understanding of what to look for when visually examining the upper digestive system of patients, using a process called an endoscopy. Here, the Baader Meinhof phenomenon helped you to detect and diagnose rare diseases by focusing your attention on them. The Baader Meinhof phenomenon and wrong conclusions. During COVID-19 pandemic, surge in swollen toes came to the notice of the doctors across the globe, seeming to coincide with the rise of the COVID-19 pandemic. As a result, many doctors concluded that the so-called COVID toes were a symptom of the coronavirus infection. However, in the following months it became clear that the proportion of COVID-infected patients was in fact low among those who had the skin condition. The reason why more people reported skin issues is still being researched. Doctors were misled by the Baader Meinhof phenomenon. Because the pandemic was at its peak, it was only natural that some of the patients with swollen toes also tested positive for COVID. This led doctors to perceive an association where there wasn't one. In other words, after one notices something for the first time, here, the co-presence of COVID and swollen discolored toes, one tends to notice it more often, leading to the belief that it has a high frequency of occurrence. That's all for today on the Baader Meinhof phenomenon. In the next video we shall explore the Barnum effect. Hope you found this video helpful. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up, and follow or subscribe to my channel 5-Minute Learnings, and do remember to hit the bell icon to get notified on new content. Thanks for watching.